Hello and welcome to In the Art Scene podcast, a place where creatives share their stories. My name is Galina Marquez, and I have another cool story prepared for you today, so let's get to it. Hello everybody and welcome back to In the Art Scene podcast. And I'm having another amazing guest today with whom we were trying once to record this episode, believe it or not, over a year ago. It did not work for us technically that time, and we've been playing phone tags. It doesn't help that we live in totally different parts of the globe. She's in Australia.
It was a good warm-up.
Yeah. We had an amazing conversation. I have no idea if we will be able to repeat that, but
we'll try.
Yeah, and there's so many things happen between then and now. we were just catching up offline on wonders of motherhood.
Yeah.
All right, Chelsea, why wouldn't you introduce yourself?
Oh, every time. See, I thought it'd get easier the second time around, but it's not. It's hello, my name's Chelsea, and I'm from Australia, and I have an obsession with seed pods. And if you don't know what that is, it's concerning because I think everywhere in the world has seed pods anyway, and I collect them and I transform them into whatever I can or whatever I feel they should be transformed into, if that makes sense. I'm trying to...
If it doesn't make sense, you guys just have to go and check out her Instagram, which is hello Chelsea Art, and I don't remember where the dots are, but we will put it in the show notes for sure. So yes, you have to see that because it's incredible and it's difficult to describe.
Thank you.
And it looks so and I'm forgetting my words. Hello, mom's
You're
brain.
Okay. You're okay. First month, yeah. I feel you.
It looks so exotic to me because I have never seen anyone doing this type of work.
And I remember saying last time, and it's even true still, when I was sort of painting on seed pods to begin with, I was looking for possible inspiration on Pinterest, or if anyone's using Pinterest still, Google images, anywhere I could find any sort of inspiration about painting on seed pods. And there was like the most, I don't know, just the slim pickings is what I'm going to say. It was just not something that I could really draw inspiration from. So I sort of just kept experimenting by myself. So that's just where it's all led to. Yeah. Well, doing it by myself.
From last time, I remember actually that was a very interesting story how you came up with this whole thing of painting on seed pods, because you were trying to become like a more conventional type artist, and that was your more kind of a just for me creative outlet kind of thing, right?
Yeah.
Can you talk a little bit?
So my mom is also an artist, and I grew up watching mom paint. I didn't tell you this part. Mom used to paint. She still does, but she's taken a back seat at the moment. But she would paint landscapes and just beautiful paintings, and I'd always just want to do that. Like I would just be inspired, and then she'd get me the paints and a canvas, and I would just kind of just look at the blank canvas and just not know what to do. And then if I did do anything, then it would just immediately look rubbish. So I guess there's that sort of perfectionism or maybe imposter syndrome. But I'd collect seed pods in the beginning and rocks and driftwood and all that sort of stuff. And I would just start painting on those because the canvas per se has already been done, if that makes sense. So I was just filling in the blanks, and that was the warm-up. And then I'd try to go back to painting traditionally, and I again would just come to this mental block of just, I don't know what I'm doing and I don't know what it's supposed to look like. And I think I just got caught up in it having to look like something, because I'm not sure if it's the same in America, but in Australia at the moment there's a massive big trend for still life, which is painting flowers in vases. And although I look at those and just go, they are so beautiful and I wish I had that talent, I've just come to peace with that's not my medium. And instead of painting flowers, it's almost like I'll paint on the flowers, like I'll paint on anything that is already a natural canvas, if that makes sense. I find that, I don't know, that's what I'm drawn to.
Yeah, it does. It does. And I just remember from our last conversation how you were saying that trying yourself in this traditional type art would just frustrate the heck out of you.
It still does. I tried to go to a watercolor class, sort of like this. We have them over here where you go and you all paint the same thing and you have wine and it's like it's called sip and paint. Do you have that over there?
Yes, we do.
Same thing. Yep. And I'm like completely frustrated because it doesn't come naturally at all to me. I've taken lessons. Like at uni, we did some art courses and it just never has stuck with me. It's just, I feel there's just that mental block, and for whatever reason, that's what led me to it, to what my craft is. And I guess it's actually quite funny because I've got quite a few friends that do watercolors and still lifes that I absolutely adore, and they look at my art and go, I don't understand how you can even do that. Like, how can you picture that? That is so difficult. And that's why I find it so hilarious, because we have this moment where we're looking at each other's art going, how can you even, like, where do you start? And I just love that. I love that.
I totally, yeah, I know, because I was so inspired by your work and I started collecting seed pods. And I think last time I showed you my little collection. Guess what? I never went anywhere with it because I was looking at them exactly the way you're describing. Where do I start? What the heck do I do with this? Well,
what color? What pattern? Yeah. Okay. Right. I don't know. It's sort of, I find that really alien of a thought, like I'll be holding a seed pod and I can already see the pattern unraveling itself on the seed pod. So it's sort of, it's not a, I don't know, it's not a conscious decision of what I'm painting. It comes from my subconscious, if I want to be so philosophical about it.
So when did you realize that this is your actual art, like this is your main art, not what you were trying to do with the conventional type painting?
So I think it started around, like, I had my normal Instagram page, which is just, what people, like normal people, you just have taken of your food or you take it of your dog, whatever. And I just started taking photos of some of the art that I had created. And that was a big sort of catalyst for the whole thing, because I didn't want to post anything on Instagram because I didn't think my art was art, and I thought it was quite rubbish, to be honest with you. And I'd get a couple of people go, oh my God, what is that? Do we have this in Australia? And I was like, yeah, literally. And I had one of my friends go, what is that? I'm like, it's a seed pod. We literally walk past it every time we go on a walk. And she's like, where? So I had to show her the tree and she's like, you painted that from that? And then I was like, yeah. And she's like, I've never seen that. And I would just have a whole collection at home. And I'm meaning like over 100 seed pods that I had painted, but I only had posted like one or two. And then anyone that would come over, not just family and friends, but if we had people visiting, like we had a bank insurer just come over and they saw my art and they're like, what is that art? Like, what is that? And so I just naturally go, okay, this is something that is a little bit different, because I'm getting a lot of questions based on things that I thought were just, people should know that, like it was quite shocking for me, because I was just like, it's a Banksia seed, and the Banksia seeds are just so common over here. So that's why when people were looking at them, I was just going, but it's just a Banksia seed, like it's nothing special. And they're like, yeah, but you've just completely transformed it into something I don't even recognize. I'm like, that's interesting. So in 2020, I was stuck at home, like a lot of people, and I had a toddler, and he was going through that stage of he wanted me to watch him play, but he didn't want me to play with him. So then I had all of this art that I had sitting around, and I just started a page, but it wasn't specifically for selling or anything like that. It was just appreciation page of Instagram with just the things I've created, and anyone that likes it, because I had a lot of my friends saying to me, you know, you really need to put this on Instagram. You need to show people, or you just need to start a website or something. And honestly, I was just like, why? Honestly, why? And they're like, no, people need to see this. This is something just so different. And some of my friends that I'd painted seed pods for, they were just, I've just, when I watched them hold the seed pods, I was just enthralled by their face. And I was, just because there was just such wonder. Because in Australia, when we're growing up, the seed pods that we would play with, I think it's a nostalgia thing.
Mm-hmm.
Because I'd have heaps of my friends go, oh my God, I used to play with these when I was little. And then they'd just be looking at them, and they'd just be like, I can't believe you've done this, because we used to do this as children, as in paint on seed pods, but nothing to the, I don't know, just, I know, like, no, I don't know how to explain it. It's just, it's something that I used to do when I was little, but never conscious about it. We'd always play with these vessels, I call them. And then, yeah, so it's just a re-imaging of a childhood memory, really, being reorientated into something new. So it's familiar but unfamiliar. And so I just got heaps of traction, and people were like, can I buy them? And I was like, oh, no. I was like, no, they're kind of really special to me, because I've taken a lot of time, a lot of love creating these. And then I had people like, well, I want something. Can I have something? And I was like, oh, I'll take photos, and will that be enough? Can you buy the prints? And then people like, yeah. I still have people that ask for specific seed pods, and I have progressed to, you can't have the ones that I've created for myself, but I will commission a seed pod. So if they've got something specific, then they come to me and I'll make it for them, because it's almost like adopting a dog for training them, but knowing that they're going to go back somewhere, you know? Like when I'm painting these seed pods for commission, I know they're not for me, so I don't get attached. And that's how special it is, the process of painting on a seed pod, which sounds, well, you know, when I'm saying it, it just sounds so silly, but there it is.
So I have seen those prints on your Instagram. You're creating not only beautiful seed pods, but also beautiful compositions that you take pictures of and selling as prints.
Yeah.
So do I hear you correctly that all of those seed pods that you painted over the years, you still own?
I own probably 95% of them, because I have given away. I've given away a couple to some close friends of mine. There was a fertility pod that I had painted, and I gave that to one of my closest friends because she's having trouble conceiving. So I gave that to her because it was really special, and she used to always really gravitate towards that one. So for me, that's just a little piece of me, you know, to her. And so, yes, the ones that I've photographed, they're all in a massive cupboard, which I've filled now. So Michael's like, my husband's going, well, what are you going to do now? You're going to get another cupboard.
That was my question.
You
must have boxes and boxes of them.
I have so many, and I think it's good though, because I had a lady approach me in Toowoomba, and she's like, I got commissioned to paint a seed pod for another. It's hard to explain, but I got commissioned to paint a seed pod for a lady I knew, and she knew another lady, and she bought it from her, and she's like, I really want you to do an exhibition. And I was like, okay. So I'm currently I'm glad I didn't sell them because now we're just currently madly painting for next year, which will be my first solo exhibition, which is a bit
Wow.
insane. It's a
Wow.
bit insane.
Where's it going to happen?
In 2023 in September, in Toowoomba we have what's called a carnival of flowers. So it's spring, and all of our parks are specifically planted with just, if you don't know it, just look it up. It's just basically the whole city is transformed into just a colourful array of floral, and we're teaming up at the same time so that when people, like, we get sometimes we have had some international people travel just for the Carnival of Flowers, and people from around Australia come and visit. And the reason why it's then is because, I guess, flowers, seed pods, and so it's going to be quite larger than I anticipated.
That sounds amazing.
Yeah, so it's something that I'm sort of trying to get my mental, just trying to get the sort of like how I'm going to do this exhibition, because it's just like I have so many ideas and I'm trying to rein myself in because I always sort of run away with my ideas. So mine was like, okay, how about we create some seed pods first and then we'll worry about the exhibition. But it's just, the only reason why I mentioned that is it's just like I never thought I'd be doing a solo exhibition, let alone just what I'm doing now. It's sort of just insane, honestly. It's just crazy.
Well, that sounds really great, and I look forward to seeing some pictures from that
and
exhibition.
Do some photos.
Yes, and please, if you don't mind, send me the link to that event that you were just talking about. I will make sure to put it in the show notes.
No one knows yet.
No, okay. Well, no one knows about
so next year.
Okay.
So next year I'll release the dates for that.
Everybody's gonna know.
That's all right. That's all right.
You just told everybody. Everybody's gonna know.
That's all right. That's all right. I have to commit to it now, which is really good.
Yes. All right. Yeah. We will revisit that. I wanted also to talk to you a little bit about, I remember you were telling about your connection with the nature and how you feel that you were collaborating with the nature when you're painting on the seed pods. And I remember last time it touched me so deeply. So I wanted to revisit that topic a little bit, because that's really something unique that you were doing, and the way that you were communicating with the nature through your art.
Yeah. I've always thought that seed pods in themselves are so beautiful. And when I first started working with nature, and I guess just experimenting with things, the form of nature, I had been studying my Masters of Architecture, and we had studied biomimicry and the concepts around that. And specifically for me, it was focusing on studying the forms of nature. So one of my buildings was inspired off, I think it was a Banksia. It's been by studying biomimicry and just having this appreciation for form and how in nature sometimes form follows function and those sorts of principles. I always felt that with my art anyway, it was really important that I took a stand against fast art, which is kind of being what's produced now. And what I love about what I do is if something doesn't work out, that's okay. I just put it in the garden, or I just give it to my toddler and he can play with it, which I have a basket of either half drawn or seed pods that didn't particularly work out, or ones that Nikolai had added his own co-creating on my seed pod. And I think what's special about my art and what is important for me for co-creating with nature is elevating or transforming the already beautiful forms that is within the seed pod, but just highlighting anything that I think within the seed pod. I think it's just important that when I'm co-creating, all I'm focusing on is trying to uncover the hidden elements or forms within the seed pod. And that might be focusing on some of the forms of the seed pod that I feel would elevate the design of a seed pod, or not painting something that I want to mute within it. And that's sort of like the whole process of co-creating with nature, is sort of looking at the seed pod and seeing what forms within it that I should focus on. And sometimes, like, the seed pods that I can get are all different shapes, all different colors, all different textures. So with that sort of leads me into the design. There's some seed pods that I couldn't draw any intricate sort of patterns on, so I don't. There's some seed pods that are very, very, they're grey. So I can either go crazy with color, or I can mute it back. Like, I had a black seed pod and I painted it with it's almost like a netting of grey and then little elements of gold within it. And it was just sort of elevating that seed pod just a little bit. So you took a double take. I had one that I had drawn on that it was so intricate that my father-in-law was like, "Oh, what a beautiful seed pod. What are you going to paint on it?" And I was like, "I have painted on it." And he goes, "Really?" And then I showed him the blank seed pod and he goes, "Oh my God, I thought that was the texture of the seed pod." So sometimes it's not even about having a pattern that's crazy or colorful. Sometimes I like to just add a little bit of finesse that gives it this sort of magical quality. It's just, I guess what I'm trying to say is the seed pod often will lead me in the direction that it wants me to paint. That's the long story short. And that's what co-creating is. Working with the seed pod and your medium, whereas a canvas is, I'm here, paint me however you want me to paint. Which for me, it's good. Like, you can transform a white canvas into whatever you want. But I feel like what I do is a little bit more, I don't want to say anything that's offensive, a little bit more, I'm not going to say tricky. It's sort of, there's more a conscious decision of how I'm going to paint, because if I try to work against a seed pod, and that's often why seed pods don't work out, is if I'm trying to push it too far and it looks unnatural. So I guess what I'm trying to do is just complement what's already there. And that's why I always have people go, "Wow, you've transformed this seed pod into something I could never imagine." Whereas I've had a couple of people, I guess this happens with everyone, I've had a couple of people copy me and direct copy. And I showed my husband and I was like, "Oh no, look at all." I had 4 ladies that were copying me, and he's just like, "But don't you see what they've done? They've brutalized it. They've absolutely brutalized the seed pod. You don't even know what that is." And they've taken away the natural beauty of the seed pod and working together with the seed pod. So that's what co-creating, that's what sort of the answer to.
It makes total sense. And I think the word compliment that you used describes it perfectly, that you are not trying to ignore what nature has already done. You are complementing,
respecting it. I think that's the word. I'm trying to respect the form and nature without taking away its already natural beauty.
Total sense. Makes total sense. let's take a short coffee break. Are you enjoying this episode? If you do, would you buy me a coffee? I would really appreciate it. The link is in the show notes and on our website, intheartscene.com. Thank you for your support. Hey listeners, did I tell you that we have fun merch? Well, we do. Click shop on our website and check it out. We have tees and hoodies, coffee mugs for your paint water, and my personal favorite, a studio apron. We use fun quotes from real artists, our podcast guests. And the best thing is all items are customizable, so get creative. By purchasing the merch, not only do you support the production of this podcast, but you also help us support art-related nonprofits and community organizations. Thank you for your support. Do you collect all your seed pods yourself where you are, or do you have people sending you seed pods from all over the world, or how does that work?
All of the above. Where I currently live at the moment, I'm very fortunate. There's about 35 different varieties that I can collect just on my walk. I also have so many people, and this is what just floors me, is I have so many people contact me. I had one last week say, hey, I've got this whole collection of eucalyptus seed pods that I collected on my trip to South Australia. This is a real lady. Would you like to purchase them? And just crazy, Or I had a lady in America, and I had a lady in Portugal say, these are seed pods, can I send them for free? I have people that will just, I had this lovely man. He makes these little miniature, I can't even explain it. It's like little creatures with seed pods. And he sent me one of those, and he said, I want you to paint it for me. Because he had never painted any, and he goes, I've tried and it just doesn't work. And I do have a lady I have a husband and wife team in Western Australia, and they collect seed pods, but it's more for nature play for kids. And I was like, do you have any of these specific seed pods? And they go, yeah, we walk past them all the time. We just don't collect them because, no one's interested in them. And I was like, I will take those. Yes, please take them. They've got sustainable harvesting rights. That's why there's some seed pods that you can only get through either people that have licenses that they can collect them so that they're not damaging the tree. They're not, they're not disrupting any of the, the surroundings, and they're just taking that alone, and they're not taking ones that haven't released their seeds inside. So, and I've got a lot of connections basically of just either people sending them for free, people asking if I'd like to purchase them, or I have 4 contact, or they contact me and say, hey, I just collected all of these. I think you'd really like them. So I just never expected that, the kindness of people, and I had a lady send me, she went on a holiday to Morton, and she was like, I just saw this random seed pod. I'm sending it to you. I just want you to paint it. I just want to see what you can do with it. It's almost like a design challenge. It's crazy.
I can send you some giant pine cones. I mean, they're technically seed pods as well. We have those huge cedar pine cones. I don't know if you have ever painted.
I would love them. Honestly, I've got 2. We don't have the conifers that you guys have. You have some beautiful seed pods over there. Like, I was given it's called a bunya pine seed pod, and it's huge, but I made the mistake of leaving it because I usually dry them, and I sort of left that one in the sun a little bit too long. And what happens is it sort of puffs up and then it disintegrates completely, because obviously that's how it sheds all of its seeds. So I accidentally left that in the sun. So that is now disintegrated all over the floor. So that, I guess that's on the back of like, there's a very specific time for collecting seed pods. And if I do get them, then I clean them and I fumigate them. And there's some that need to be in the sun, and then they'll either disperse some of their seeds and I'll collect them and I'll give them to my mum because she lives on a property so she can plant those. If you're interested in that, that's just what I do. It's sort of a whole process.
Well, you got it. I'll send you some pine cones. I did it.
Please, I would love that.
I did it. I said it on the internet. Now everybody knows.
I'll see if customs will be like, what is?
Yeah, for sure. Well, it's an interesting question, by the way. I have no idea if there's any policy against sending things like that.
So if the seed pod has seeds within it, that's usually an issue. But if it's in Australia, we're very fortunate where our seed pods sort of just like dispel all the seeds within, and then it's just like a vessel.
Uh-huh.
And so if it's been fumigated, it's almost just like a wooden craft. I'm not sure how to explain it. But I usually only am able to send over the black bean seed pods, where they're basically just a husk, if that makes sense. There's no sort of nowhere where insects can hide and those sorts of things. So in that sort of respect, it's a bit hard. And that's why I had a couple of people internationally like, I really love this seed pod specifically. And I was like, I can't get that to you. So the best I can do is send you a print. So I guess that was another reason that led me to prints as well. So, but usually seed pods are fine. Yeah. I had ordered some. We don't have them over here. It's like the acorn trees that you guys have with the with the squirrels. And I know that that's just like so like blasé, but like I got some in the mail and I was like, oh my God, Micah. He's just like, okay, calm down, crazy lady. Because we have acorn trees, but like they're like native acorn, and they're tiny little buds, whereas you have like these little, I can't even explain it. It just reminds me of the Ice Age movie with the little squirrel.
Yes.
We don't have that. So when I was sent them, I was just like losing my mind, because I was just like, we don't have that. And that's why I want to travel as well. And now that we can, I can see what there is in the world, basically. It's exciting.
It is. And do you research all the trees that you are using as your models?
Yeah,
I have no idea.
Models. I love that.
Because I have no idea. I haven't lived in California for that long. I mean, I probably would know more about my native natural habitat, which was central Russia. But here, a lot of the trees and a lot of the seed pods are still exotic for me here in California. Let alone what you are doing. Like those are from different planet completely. Especially
they do.
Especially after you have worked on them. So yeah, and I don't research. I see some cool ones, but I don't really know the names of the trees or how they grow or whatever. So do you do research on everything that you are painting?
Very. I keep saying this, but I am very fortunate because my husband, his father, he was a sort of a botanist. I think that's the same over there, but he gave me some inklings on where I could find some field guides over here, and I was able to snag a 1982, I think it is, from the Commonwealth Eucalyptus Buds and Fruits illustration field guide, and it's basically a dictionary of nearly most of the eucalyptus seed pods that we have, and he had an old textbook from when he was going to uni about Banksias. So I've got so many field guides you couldn't know what to do with, of just all the different seed pods. Because when I started, I got some and people were like, what is that? And I'm like, oh, I don't know. Just give me, I have no idea. And of course, people want to know the scientific name, or if I don't give the scientific name, I might get in trouble with some people, and they're like, actually, it's called this, this, this. So it's a learning process for me too, which is great. And the funny thing is with classifications and our seed pods over there, because they're still discovering things today, everything gets reclassified. So I have a book, obviously, from 1982, and I have a book in I think it's like 1998, and some of the classifications have like completely changed. There's new subgroups of seed pods, and like I said, they're still making discoveries today. So I think what I like about it is it's almost, if I can hark back to my childhood, it's almost like Pokemon. I have to catch them all. They have to all be mine. And if I see like someone brings a seed pod home and they'll be like, have you painted on this before? I'd be like, no, where did you get that? And I'll literally force them to tell me exactly where the tree that they have got it from, where the location is, what time of day, what month, because it's actually getting now a bit rare if I don't know what the seed pod is. So it's pretty funny, really. I've become the person that's a little bit nutty about seed pods. And if someone will send a photo to me and be like, do you know what this is? Or I found this on my walk. Do you know what it's called? And I was like, how did I become the person to come to? And I guess it's just because the process of I'm the only one that's actually doing stuff with seed pods that would otherwise just be forgotten about, really. Hannah said, she's like, I walk past that tree, I don't collect it. It's not popular. It doesn't particularly look nice. And I'm like, I'll take it. I'll take it. Don't leave it on the tree just because she's ugly. I can make her beautiful.
No, it says
we do have some. Yeah.
It says a lot about your respect and appreciation for nature. It's not like you're just collecting them because they're fun to paint on. The way that you're learning and the way that you were you're studying and you're kind of getting to know each other almost.
Yeah, I love it. And I do have people like, no, can you paint some more Banksias? And they are the most popular that I paint. But I was like, no, well, I'll paint some more soon. But these ones need to be given a little bit of love, and also advertisement about what they are. I think I'm posting one tomorrow even, and I don't think many people know where or what it is. And that's what makes me excited, because people go, we have that in Australia? What? So everyone's sort of discovering with me. It's lovely.
Yeah.
Oh, and I think that's the difference, what I love about my art. It's sort of like a collaborative thing. Like I have people from the community sending me these things, people I don't even know in real life. They're just sending me these seed pods, and they're like, I want to see what you do with them. Whereas I guess in traditional art, it's more of a voyeur experience. You're just watching these people create these things going, wow, but you don't feel like you have a connection personally with them, because all you can really say is, oh, I love that ceramic, or I love your painting, and all they can really say is thanks. That's it, right?
Yeah,
that's it.
Exactly.
And I don't know, it just creates more of a dialogue, and the importance of being aware of your surroundings and celebrating nature and not taking it for granted. And if I could just say that.
Do you ever repeat the patterns, or all your designs are completely unique?
I struggle to repeat patterns unless I have a specific pattern that I want to do in a series. So I did one in a sort of different color theory. So I did one in every color, and that was really nice. But I probably, I really struggle to do the pattern again on the seed pod unless someone commissions me for it. It's just because I've just got so many different seed pods and so many different ways of painting that it's almost, you feel like you're limiting yourself by replicating the same thing, because isn't that nature? Everything is unique. And so if I find I keep doing the same thing over and over again, which often, even traditional art is like that, like if you're really known for one art style or one type of painting, I feel like you get really stuck in your own sort of, you don't grow and you don't evolve as an artist unless you really push yourself. And even so, like, you will get pushed back by people and they're like, no, I like it when you paint this way. Whereas I don't really have a style, only that I use seed pods, right?
Yeah,
so
it's actually
I'm lucky in that respect. Yeah.
It's a real struggle, actually, what you're describing, because when you're an emerging artist and you are trying to find your voice and you feel like everybody else has a style and only like you're the only one who doesn't. And then when you get the style, you get bored and you're trying to venture out somewhere. And then, you get the comments from people who know you because of that style. It's like, oh, no, why did you switch? Blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, there was a lady I knew, Helen, in the UK. She went through that, I think, last year. She, phenomenal artist, and she decided to just change quite drastically, I might say. The techniques were the same, but just the style was different and the backlash she got. And she's like, have you ever got that? And I was like, no, because I don't have a sort of art style. So I guess in that respect, I'm very lucky because I don't get people that get angry. I think people would get angry if I stopped painting on seed pods and went more traditional. So that's where I guess I have to be mindful.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
I have a couple questions about the techniques since we started on that. What kind of mediums, what kind of tools are you using? You already said that you're cleaning them, drying them, fumigating them. Do you prime, or like what kind of brushes do you use? What kind of medium?
So as you can imagine, because all the seed pods are different, all of them have different textures, different what's the word? Absorption rates. They're all they're also varied. So I would say there's no one, like, if I was just a acrylic artist, you could just say I just use acrylics and I just use paintbrushes of this and this and this. But I would say I have tried watercolors, I've tried acrylic paint, I've tried flowable medium, I've tried acrylic inks, I've tried it's almost like the like watercolor paint pens, I've done acrylic paint pens. Like I could just keep listing it off. But I guess it just depends. You ask me one specific seed pod and I say this is what I use for that. For instance, if it was a black bean seed pod, it's almost like painting on wood. I can prime it if I want to, but if I prime it, that means that over time, what happens is I'll paint it with acrylic paint, and I can either use a paintbrush or I can use a paint pen. And if I leave it for a couple of days, then the subtle texture of the seed pod will come through if I don't use primer. Whereas if I do use primer, then it's almost like you're just doing a rock painting where you lose all of the texture below it. So it just depends what sort of intention I have with the seed pod. So if there's some black bean seed pods, for instance, that are so twisty that you can see the inside of the seed pod on the outside as well, if that makes sense. So I might want to prime that whole thing because the inside is what is the highlight of the whole thing. instead of the outside, and that's another thing with seed pods. They have all these different surfaces. I'm working on a 3D object. So for some of it, I might want just the base of it to almost just be white, completely white. So I'll use primer on that, but on the top, I might want to just have a slight iridescent feel to it. So I might just use like color shift water colors, which I'm starting to get into, and they're phenomenal. Or there's one seed pod that I painted, and I painted it in, a usual sort of pattern that I would do, which is usually lots of circle-centric sort of designs and pointillist sort of methods. But what I've gotten into is also UV paint. So I'll start putting a little design very intricately, like you can't really notice that it's a secondary design. And then when I get a UV light on it, it will, again, transform it into a different pattern that you didn't even see that was there. That's what I'm playing with at the moment. And
that's so interesting.
Yeah, so I did one on there with a huge Banksia, and I'm just like only just experimenting just with the littlest degree. So, I've just got all of these techniques that I'm just trying to experiment at the moment and just see where that takes me. So it's a hard question, really hard. No, it's a simple question, but a hard answer.
Have you ever tried glow in the dark paint?
Yeah, so that's what the UV and glow in the dark paint, they're similar, different but similar. I've done some glow in the dark paint for Nikolai because he wanted, I don't know, there's this seed pod that we have, it's really spiky and he calls it crockle. So he likes, I don't know, it's almost like, the only way I can describe it is it's sort of like the Avatar movie where the scene where it's just nighttime and there's all these little glow in the dark creatures just coming out. Yes, I have tried, and it's just, I can't wait to do more. Two under 3 is difficult, as you would now understand with having a child. You try to get every moment you can with the little moments that you have,
Yeah.
So
yeah,
I can't. So it's sort of like I can't wait until. No, I should say I'm looking forward to the times where Nikolai's maybe just even 6 months older, so we can we paint together now. But there's a different level of appreciation because he gets frustrated because he wants to paint as sort of intricately as me. He goes, draw like mama, and he does get frustrated because he can't paint what I'm painting. But I guess I can't wait till that sort of becomes something that we can all do together, because they've shown a lot of interest in that with collecting seed pods, and they see me collect, and I don't know, it's something that we do now as a family, which I didn't, I don't set out to plan to do that, but it's just something that's happened.
That actually was
tangent. I know.
That was my other question. You kind of answered it before I asked you. Are you painting with your kids, or how are you collaborating with your kids? Yeah. Yeah.
We paint together, definitely.
That's awesome. I look forward to the time when my little one is a little bit older. That is, the anticipation of that, because he's 1 month old. He doesn't even understand that he has hands yet.
Yes.
And I already look forward.
I love that. I love that word, actually. That's what I should say. Instead of I'm looking forward to, I have so much anticipation, and it's exciting to think that soon, your child will be able to have an interest in what you're doing, because that's how children are. They're like, oh, what's mommy doing? Like, I want to know. And that sort of, it's sort of the innocence and discovery.
Yeah.
And that look that they have is the same look that adults have when they hold my seed pods. And I think that's what I was trying to say before. It's this tiny little moment in time where they almost look childlike because they're like, oh, yeah.
Yeah, that
I think
fascination
that's
and
what makes it,
curiosity. Yeah.
I love that.
Alrighty. Well,
Thank you. Thank you. We
well,
made it. We made it.
yay! Thank you.
Yay.
Yeah, thank you for giving this podcast another chance.
I'm not sure if it's as good as the last time, but I feel like we've there's more depth to this one.
Yeah, well, we covered a lot of ground. I feel very good about this conversation, and I enjoyed it as much as the first one. I hope you did too. And we will definitely, we will definitely see each other again. And I will have to research the custom rules and how I can send you those pine cones and stuff. There are a couple more that I can send you. I have no idea if you have the same things in Australia or not. I just cannot imagine that, anything in the United States can be the same as in Australia.
I literally just declare it, and they decide whether or not it can be passed. Because that's with the pine cones, not the pine cones, the acorns that was just listed, and yeah, it was fine. So give it a go, and the worst case scenario is they destroy it.
Yeah, I guess.
or you can make return to the sender so they can return it. But I let you know because I am happy to pay for postage.
Okay, well, we will talk about it offline.
Yeah.
All right.
My baby's just woken up, so good timing.
Yeah, mine, I guess, is getting hungry, so.
Thank
you so much. And so good to see you again. Bye.
Bye.
It has been another episode of In the Art Scene podcast. If you liked today's conversation, please give us a good review on Apple. And go listen to other great stories. Check out our website, intheartscene.com, or follow us on Instagram at intheartscene for more content. If you are a creative and you want to share your story, shoot us a message from the website or DM us on Instagram. Look forward to seeing you next time in the art scene.